16 years ago, we started a television show that we hope would last 6 months. This is our 822nd episode of the sports show. Every one of them has been done with the four of us as at least the obviously fill-ins over the years, but never someone gone for good. Today we salute the one and only Dark Star, Mike Max, Patrick Royce, and Sid Hartman, and a seat reserved for the Dark Man. Patrick, we will revisit some stories that people have not heard about him and that now we're free to tell. And we will play some of his more famous moments. Most of them came on the commercial end on this show, but you and he were above and beyond. You were friends. You watched games. I mean, this has been one strange weekend.
Yeah, it has. There's a bunch of them to tell, and I think the last time he was over at my house, this is a classic Dark Star. I'm walking into Barley's. My wife's out of town. I'm walking into Barley's. He said, what are you doing? I said, I'm about to buy myself a porterhouse to grill. Should I buy 2? And he said, yes, buy 2. I'll come over and watch the ball game. Well, I get to the meat counter, and I said, blah, 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 give me a couple of big porterhouses. And the guy says, hey, how's your friend Dark Star doing? I used to cut meat for him at Ridgedale. Used to cut those big steaks for him. And I said, well, cut a big one here, because one of them's for him. He knew everybody. Everybody who did anything for him. He knew them by name. He schmoozed them. I wrote a column the other day about where the pizza gets delivered, and he yells, hey, Richie, is that you? The pizza? You know the pizza delivery. Who knows the pizza delivery guy except Dark Star?
Sidney, explain Dark Star.
Well,
through your eyes.
All-time character, no doubt, without a doubt. I'll say one thing. He was help a lot of people help. I mean, for a couple of times I thought I had a lot of connections. He had more than I had, I'll tell you that. He had connections getting hockey tickets. How about different tickets? I tried to get some for boxing tickets in Vegas, and he got them right away.
He was always your last resort, though, because you didn't want to owe him what?
The only thing, he and one other guy is a lot like him. He would spend a lot of money to get show that and spend the money for the hockey, for the
tickets,
fight, and pay big for it.
Yeah,
and you'd pay him for maybe a half, because he actually paid a lot of big money to do it.
Yeah.
Remind of one guy who operates like that, sit behind the University of Minnesota from football, or
Remember, he sat on the floor of the Timberwolves too for years. Remember that?
Yeah.
You go over there and call him.
Darky did okay though. The Timberwolves tickets came in handy for him whenever the Lakers, when they got to the Western Conference Finals against the Lakers. He loved sitting on the floor. He loved getting the attention. But if the price was right, those tickets were gone. And Dark didn't see a Laker game, I can tell you that. The price was too generous.
He had really a heart of gold in a lot of ways. He'd get in and get mad at you and get upset at you. In my case, he always calls me. I pick up the phone and say, "How you doing? Let's have something together." You don't get Bob Hagan a lot.
Yeah.
They turn out to be, but I don't know
friends,
how they became together all the time. Hagan and he always had always together at the time.
One of the things that you enjoyed though the most is we'd come in here and we didn't know what commercial was coming next because Dark was out doing commercials all the time, and so we put together some of them, and you'd always just look at them, and we used to just watch your face and your expression. One of our all-time favorites is one of them they did for his good friends at Canterbury Park. Dark Star on Canterbury Park. Go ahead and roll it.
Hey everybody, this is Dark Star. I'm up Coon Rapids, Chrysler Jeep Highway 10 and Foley Boulevard, easily without question. Best dealership in the Twin Cities with my main man, Tony Vance. Memorial Day sale, we're blowing everything out.
Everything's got to go Dark. We're going to do it. What else is there
that Sebring, unbelievable. Sebring's incredible.
It is incredible.
Accessorized to the max. And those minivans, unbelievable.
150 of them. Great. What more do you want?
We got everything. Noah's Ark here for the minivans. We got 2 everything. Come and see us at Coon Rapids Chrysler Jeep Highway 10 and Foley Boulevard. Easily, without question.
The best dealership in the Twin Cities.
Isn't that special?
That's special, huh?
And I think in the rich tradition of Dark Star commercials, that wasn't the Canterbury
No, that was
Park
not.
commercial, but what the hell?
No,
You
that's
know,
what he said.
we never claimed perfection.
No, we
around
never,
here.
ever.
No.
A quick funny aside on Coon Rapids Chrysler Plymouth. My wife was selling ads at the time for a magazine, and she said, I met these guys. They asked about Dark Star because they said, they knew you knew them. She said, I think they might be a good fit. And so I said, okay. I called them up. I said, Dark and I will come up and meet with you, and I knew them. So Dark goes up there and meets him for the first time, but they had heard of him because of the car business, right? And so Dark dazzles him. Vance, Birch, the whole crew that we had on for, and so he gets him to advertise on the TV and the radio side. So 2 weeks later, they're already on the radio side. The first spot I hear Dark say, I've known these guys for 25 years. They will not steer you wrong.
I like the Rush Creek one. Rush Creek was an early advertiser.
Yeah.
And you guys were out there meeting with the Rush Creek folks and telling them, well, you better, we're going here. We're leaving here. We got a meeting with some other
What happened was
new Daily Fee golf
I was just
course.
trying to help. We were just getting the show going, and we were meeting with Ed Money.
Yeah.
And they were already there when I got there. And I sat down. And Dark says, Maxie, just so you know what's been covered, I already told him about the offer that we've got from Interlaken, but I would prefer to go with him. I've already covered that part of it. We had no offers. Take a break as we remember Dark Star.
Looking for a nice, big, juicy rack of ribs, fabulous chops, huge steaks, and the Buddy Bowl? Then J.D. Hoyt's is a place for you. Hoyt's opened in 1983. Mike Andrews and his partner John White have kept this Minnesota tradition at the top of the food chain. Managing owner Pat Montague gives us a tour.
At JD Hoyt's, enjoy a relaxed atmosphere, great food, friendly service, private dining room, second to none happy hour, and great outdoor dining, just blocks from the new ballpark.
Located at 394 in North Washington, locally owned, nationally known, Hoyt's.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 98, 99. Baseball and Hoyt's. So close you can taste it.
Oh, man, locally owned, nationally known, J.D.
Okay.
Hoyt's sympathy goes out
I got a
to
question.
everybody. And that leads into, go ahead.
I got a question. Who was the cameraman on that shoot?
I don't know.
Did he actually take those 100 steps, or did he miss about 90 in the middle there? I want to know if we got conned here on this ad, or if Dark really walked up the street. What do you think, Sid?
Well, like I said, it's different as far as if somebody had a
Lie detector?
Problem or lie detector? Which one? If they had a problem, he was there for you. If you had a lie detector, he
He
wasn't.
didn't want to be there.
Tell us, but the party of
if you
J.D.
buy some kind of a
lie detector test. Yeah.
what you call,
Yeah.
he'd give you 3 times as much than he's really paying for. Nothing like
Oh, that thing at Hoyt's the other night we were talking about, though. The party. 22 people show up.
I think 24 I counted.
24.
Sid, you were right
Yeah,
up
you're in
there.
the front seat.
You had Dark, and you were sitting next to Dark and Hagen. And what did you think of that party at Hoyt's the other night that Dark hosted?
fantastic part.
Great food, everything.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Everybody had every kind of
Food imaginable.
food. Everybody was nothing.
Nothing cheap about that thing.
cheap.
He picked up the whole
Buying
thing.
money. He was spending.
What a collection of
people
human
happy.
beings. What a collection, though. All these radio buddies, Joe Friedberg, Sidney, Bobby Hagan, and Stewie Voigt, just quite a collection of people.
You know, we were talking about the ads, though, that ran. Here's another one. Here's another Dark Star production that you've seen on the sports show.
Wow. Feel. Ha, 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 ha. Oh, my back.
That was a good one. When he came back, we didn't know what he had.
He started that one. I said, man alive, this guy. The great thing about Dark, no level of embarrassment.
There was no shame. There was no shame. There was nothing he would not do.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. He wanted to be. He came here. It started in 1985. He called our radio show.
Yeah.
Reported that Bud was going to resign. Nobody'd heard it. He heard it from Mike Lynn's brother drinking at the Lafayette Club, as it turned out. But he wanted to be a celebrity. He wanted to be somebody about town. I don't think it had to be radio. He didn't care what it was. He just wanted to be a guy that people knew. And
What do you remember about the first time?
How about he and what do you call the former
Tom Kelly. Tom Kelly, the manager of the Twins.
no.
Oh, you're thinking of somebody else. But what about
talk
Tom
about
Kelly?
the former manager of the team,
Yeah.
and they were big buddies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Tom Kelly, we're
we
just asking.
said
It seemed
that.
like they were strange.
Yeah, the Dark, the world's greatest BSer, and Tom Kelly, who has less time for BS than anybody in the history of sports, and somehow yet they played golf about 2 or 3 days a week, and were big buddies. So
That was dark.
I think Kelly grew up in New Jersey with characters. So
Well,
I
he'd
think
go down to
Spring training.
get together with the
whole staff.
all the time.
Yeah, yeah. Take a break, come back, remembering Dark Star. Congratulations, class of 2012 from Franklin Street Bakery. Yeah. Stop on by there. Wayne Kostrowski and his entire crew send out their condolences to Dark Star, someone that he knew well and someone that he visited with frequently, especially at the State Fair. And I tell you what, Dark loved it there, Franklin Street Bakery. It was his kind of goods, as they say, his kind of fiddles, cupcakes and cakes and things like that. Stop on by. Wayne Kostrowski and his entire crew send out their sympathy, but stop on by. Lots of great places, and Bar Abilene, of course, he owns and whatnot. And Dark, how you know, we were at the dinner the other night. So eclectic, you mentioned.
Yeah, right. Joe Friedberg on one end and meat sauce on the other. And everybody
That
in
was
between.
his thing, though, wasn't it? He liked to know everybody from different.
I always said he had about 4 or 5 different pockets of friends, and a lot of times you had no idea how close he was to that pocket of friends, and he had them all over the place, and he was everybody's pal. And I'll tell you though, I did have some great experiences going to La Costa with him.
How so?
We go out in August for about 4 or 5 years in a row. We go to La Costa, play golf in the morning, go to Del Mar in the afternoon, go to Tijuana at night half the time. But we always had the first tee time because he went and the first thing he did is go schmooze up the starter. So we always had the first tee time, and we had a caddy named the great James Brown, a little black guy who was a mouthy guy with a cigar, and he was always Dark's guy. Dark would show up, and the great James Brown would take care of us, man. He loved Dark, and Dark, that's just the kind of guy that Dark loved, you know.
Well, he did a great job for that guy selling tickets to all kinds of different
Ticket King.
people. I mean, he had 8 or 10 people working for him. He had that commercial. I don't know with
Ticket
those
King.
kids.
Yeah.
It was great. He did a heck of a job establishing that guy selling tickets for every kind of sport there was.
And as you pointed out today, he did a great job for Canterbury Park.
Yeah. Well, I think the
The whole horse racing industry, he stuck up for and lobbied for.
I think that the horse deal is going to be miss him a lot.
Yes.
All the thing he done for that
For Canterbury.
horse.
Some of that pub he gave might not have even been paid advertising.
Maybe not. Let's go to another commercial, courtesy of our friend Dark Star.
Really sorry we have to do this.
Hello, race fans.
This hurts me as much as it does you.
It's time to play Hootie.
We just don't think you're cut out to be a jockey. But I'm sure you'll find something soon.
Thrown out of the jockey room.
That was the best. I had no idea what was coming when he brought that
Nobody
to
put
the
that one up.
to the studio one
Yeah,
day.
he came up with the creative ideas on a few of these, didn't he?
He did. He would drive the ship, and he would meet with the boy. I could tell you some funny stories, but I don't know if you guys even know how this thing actually came together. 16 years ago, Dark and I are sitting in the press box, and he came up with the idea, and he said, "I can get Royce. You got to get Sid." Because he said, "I can't get Sid." He said, "I can't approach him on something like this." I said, "Great." Then we went to Kevin Couture, the then general manager at Midwest Sports Channel, and we met at right next to CC Radio there at Dan Kelly's. And he said, "Here's the idea. We want to try it." And Kevin said, "Well, and we need some support from advertising." Dark went out to Grand Casino, signed them up, signed up 2 more within about 2 weeks, and we hoped that we could do it literally for 6 months. And we thought, you remember that?
Yeah, sure.
With the old studio, we just showed up one day, and everybody and they started playing it on MSC and replaying it on MSC, and it took on a shelf life of its own. I don't know that we ever had a formal contract with anybody on this show. It was just kind of week by week.
Well, he's different than every other people. He had his own way of doing things. I mean,
Yeah, he did.
I mean, you go around and practically beg people to go on the show.
Yeah.
And he couldn't say the sponsors couldn't say yes that they want to spend money. He talked them into it some way.
Yeah. Some people have that gift, and he had it. And in fact, when
Two great businesses for him. He was in cars.
Yep.
And he was in radio. Being a BSer, that comes in handy in both fields.
Let me ask you something, though, Pat, because I think he always thought of himself as a hustler that had to make his way.
Oh, sure.
But I thought that he was much more gifted than he ever gave himself credit for. He could sit in a table and read the room. And he had an innate sense about what that person's hot button was, which is why he was so good in sales and on the radio show.
Street smart.
Yeah, but I don't even think he understood how gifted he was in that area. You?
Oh, I think he knew that.
You think he did understand?
I think he knew that I could turn this guy around. Fish was telling me the great story. He was on Tales of the Dark Side, and he ripped North Dakota, and they damn near came down and lynched him. And 6 months later, he's leading the campaign for flood relief in North Dakota, and he's going to get the governor's medal.
It was the greatest. You know what he did? He did a thing on Midwest Sports Channel.
Great salesman.
Yeah.
No better salesman than anybody.
No,
he could talk people into going on this
They
show.
spent money on things they didn't even know they were spending it on.
And we'll miss him, I'll tell you that. You're going to have a tough job selling all these
Keep that
people.
stuff going. Yeah, let's take a break, and we'll finish up with some final thoughts on our friend Dark Star.
I thought we were done.
Here we are at our favorite place in the whole wide world, Ticket King, on the corner of Chicago and Washington in downtown Minneapolis.
We love Ticket King. We love Ticket King. We love Ticket King.
Don't forget, we've got Twins tickets.
Let's go Twins. Let's go Twins. Let's go Twins.
We know a lot about twins.
Because we are twins.
We've got pro football tickets, too.
Packers. 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 Vikings.
We've got concert tickets, too. Madonna's coming.
We love Madonna.
Girls, don't forget, Wrong Direction's coming to town, too.
One Direction, Daddy.
Don't listen to what this idiot says. Come on down. It's the real thing. It's Ticket King.
Only he could come through with that.
Wow. Like you said, Patrick, there was nothing that was off limits.
Oh, man.
Well, he had more ideas how to sell people. Great salesman. I mean, like I say, he got those people, they couldn't say no.
That's right. That's a good salesman.
I think the story that he had as much pride in telling as any is when they flew him down to the Body Solution place in San Antonio, and they introduced him, and everybody in the room gave him a standing ovation.
Well,
they had everyone
moving that product.
Every radio station in the country was selling Body Solution,
and he was their top
seller. He was their #1 guy.
Talked about he owned the horses.
Yeah.
He was the guy to put it together. We this and we that, like he owned it.
Canterbury, yep.
He talked about Canterbury all the time, like he owned it, not the Sampsons.
Yeah, Randy Sampson's pretty good.
It was funny to be around him in the quiet moments, because if you ever were with him in a public situation, he was always on stage. But we could sit around, watch a ball game, have some good talks, and talk about real life. And it wasn't always all BS. We'd talk about life.
He was a Vietnam vet.
Yeah.
He was married a couple times. That was never really in his DNA.
This was one of our great bits because the second marriage that he had here in the Twin Cities wasn't terribly successful.
Yes.
So
pretty short-lived, yeah.
So when Kim Kardashian and Chris Humphries went 72 days, we had this mysterious guy named George on the air. He was an expert on short marriages.
And how to get out of them, huh?
Oh, he was great. He said, yeah.
I'll say,
you remember?
He was like a Hollywood star with it.
Yeah.
You do anything to sell some deal.
And remember at his mother's funeral, he did. This was the most unique service any of us ever seen. He just did the whole service.
Eulogy.
Yeah, he got up and did the whole thing, and he had that great line that his mom said, and I think this speaks kind of to all of us. He said, "I remember she said to me, I might have to love you, but I don't have to like you all the time." Remember that?
Yeah.
And I think everybody in the place that resonated with.
I think at the end of the service, he told them to support his sponsors. He told all of his people to please support his sponsors. Too. Wow.
I think. Hope all the sponsors stay with the show.
Yeah, well,
I think,
we'll worry about that later. We'll worry about that later, Sid. Let's talk about Dark here.
Yeah,
I mean, his mother was a great gal. He used to come
she
over.
Was classy.
He used to come over to our place for Thanksgiving and Christmas with my wife's family. And
well, you were closer.
And she was a dignified gal, always wore the suits, and she'd come in with her ne'er-do-well son, but she loved him dearly,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way everybody comes. Sure. Everybody had bad moments with Dark.
I think he worshipped you more than any friend he had.
Patrick Royce, Tom Kelly, and Joe Friedberg and Randy Sampson. Those four are the ones that they could stop him in his tracks. If they said something, it changed. Just 2 weeks ago here, there was a bad moment. You and he were just having your normal, and Patrick set him straight in the commercial break like that, Yeah. And he could do that, and there's not many people that could do that to him. But
yeah, like we said, all-time character of all time.
Yeah, it won't be.
Well, that apartment is. There's a lot going on in Dark's life you don't know about. He's got the greatest collections of stuff you ever saw. Unbelievable.
In the days to come, we may learn. If they ever get in that apartment,
who knows?
There may be a few more stories to tell, but it won't be the same. 16 years coming in here and doing this. So we say goodbye with a picture of our good friend, Dark Star, and we thank you for all they did for all of us. Dark, we're going to miss you. We'll speak of you often, and you will make us laugh for the rest of our lives. So long, everybody.